I am going to take a divorce from Steve Harvey. He is having affairs with many other girls. He goes to Diddy's parties where they misuse girls. Steve is Diddy's puppet, and the two of them do freak-offs together.
Telling me Steve Harvey and P. Diddy had relations, and for the past 25 years, P. Diddy has been blackmailing Steve Harvey.
Because I'm so quiet, there's been so many stories that have been made up about me. Like I've seen stories about me being like fully in love with somebody and we have like this whole relationship, and I'll see the guy and I'm like, I've actually never even met him before.
No. Steve Harvey is going down with the diddler. My sources very close to me told me about 25 years ago, Steve Harvey went to a freak-off.
No party either, because you think you're gonna run into your church group or something. This is for the baby's bottom, not for the grown-up's bottom. I'm just saying.
My weapon of choice.
Did you hear about the latest surprising development in the world of celebrity scandals? Picture this. On the exact day Diddy was arrested, Marjorie Harvey felt it was the right opportunity to file for divorce from Steve Harvey. Coincidence? Some folks think not. In fact, this entire issue is churning up all sorts of strange allegations that connect Steve Harvey, the popular TV presenter and comedian, straight into Diddy's downward slide. But let's take a step back and look at how all this came tumbling down.
There's Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's 22-year-old stepdaughter, in New York looking super happy. And there's Diddy looking, nervous.
So this is fueling the dating rumors that have been going on for a few weeks now.
Yeah, they've been hanging out. Saw her getting out of Diddy's car last week at Nobu.
We're not talking about a small violation here. The charges, let's just say they're serious. We're talking conspiracy, trafficking, and even more disturbing charges that have the entertainment industry gasping. But Diddy's difficulties don't simply end with him. It's like a ripple effect. The larger Diddy's collapse grows, the more people he's bringing down with him. And one of those folks simply could be Steve Harvey. Yeah, you heard it correctly. Steve Harvey, the man who's been all grins and dad jokes on our TVs, could get caught up in the same storm that's drowning Diddy. Let's rewind a little. For years, Diddy has been a giant in the entertainment industry, constructing an empire from his music career, commercial enterprises, and showy attitude. But what we didn't see was the dark underbelly underneath all that sparkle and beauty. Diddy's famed parties, considered to be the hottest ticket in town, are finally being revealed for what they truly were. Crazy, scandalous occasions where anything and everything went down. And visitors who've been speculated to attend some of these over-the-top affairs? Yep, none other than Steve Harvey.
Say baby oil! Baby oil! My hidden talents really can't be discussed on national television because it involves excessive amounts of baby oil, low lights, and moaning. You gotta be a baby oil professional. Now, most people don't have a microwave in their bedroom. I've installed one because I need hot baby oil at hand. Here's a couple of low-budget ways to accomplish it. Run a sink full of hot water and just lay that bottle of baby oil in there for about 15 minutes. Turn it and let it heat up like that. Here's another way to apply warm baby oil. Take a washcloth, run it under the hot water till you can't stand it anymore. Then wring it out. Then saturate the washcloth with the baby oil. Then take the hot washcloth over there to the bed. Then as you need it, wring it a little bit and go to work.
So this is the new story going around.
Now, Steve Harvey is renowned for his smart suits, motivating talks, and being the consummate family guy. His whole brand is based on his image as a self-made guy who dragged himself up from the streets of Cleveland to become one of the most revered people in Hollywood. So when reports began swirling that Steve had some type of participation with Diddy's renowned parties, people were extremely astonished. Could it be true? Could Steve Harvey have been part of the same circle that's now falling down with him? Let's just say, where there's smoke, there's generally fire. People are now wondering that Steve wasn't simply an innocent bystander. There are suspicions that he knew a lot more than he put on, and with the sort of allegations Diddy is facing, it's not hard to think that some fairly major people are connected. After all, Diddy's hardly the kind to roll solo. He's been rubbing shoulders with A-listers for decades. But why Steve? Why now? Well, it appears that Diddy's arrest has opened a Pandora's box of secrets, and Steve Harvey's reputation is slowly being dragged through the dirt.
Harvey is going down with the diddler. My sources very close to me told me about 25 years ago, Steve Harvey went to a freak-off, right? I knew some security guards who had seen it happen. He goes to a freak-off. Him and Diddy allegedly had relations. We all know Diddy has 90 terabytes of footage of freak-offs. What happened? Reportedly, Diddy has been blackmailing Steve Harvey for the last 25 years. And even sicker that I've heard, Diddy was dating his daughter. And so was Diddy's son was dating Steve Harvey's daughter. And reports and security guards close to me tell me that Diddy just uses his daughter as an ATM machine to get back all those years of blackmail that he has been taking away from Steve Harvey. I am sorry if he is one of your most favorite TV show hosts. He's one of mine as well, but the news must come to light. And yes, Steve Harvey is involved, allegedly.
What gets people talking is the timing of Marjorie Harvey's decision to file for divorce. It's almost too perfect. Right on the same day that Diddy is brought into jail, Marjorie is already lined up to break connections with Steve. It's as if she knows something major is going to strike, and she's trying to get ahead of it. Some people are suggesting this is a traditional strategy to preserve her assets, particularly with all the possible litigation and controversies that may be headed their way. After all, Steve's riches is immense. He's supposedly worth hundreds of millions of dollars owing to his TV series, book agreements, and business enterprises. If there's any truth to the claims tying him to Diddy's problem, you can guarantee there are going to be plenty of attorneys wanting to get their hands on that riches.
Steve Harvey make Lori Harvey date Diddy. What's up with that?
Of course. And allegedly, Mary Harvey has said so. Steve Harvey also has a very inappropriate relationship with the diddler. And the truth is, a lot of these older men push their daughters to hook up with their celebrity friends so that they can keep the favor machine going. I just don't know with the way Diddy rock, like, how do you share with your daughter, you know? Like, they share that experience now? Well, what'd he do to you, baby? Like, what?
But here's where it becomes even more intriguing. Marjorie and Steve's relationship has always been picture perfect, right? The happy pair who combined their families and walked on red carpets looking like they were right out of a romance story. Well, not so fast. Behind the scenes, there had been rumors for years that things weren't as rosy as they looked. In truth, whispers of divorce had been swirling long before Diddy's arrest ever occurred. The public simply didn't realize how awful things truly were. And now, with Diddy's arrest, it appears like everything's coming to a head. There's conjecture that Marjorie's abrupt haste to file for divorce isn't just about terminating her marriage, it's about safeguarding the Harvey business. Imagine if Steve's relationship to Diddy was completely revealed and Marjorie's fortune is at danger of being tangled up in the aftermath. It makes perfect sense that she would want to walk away while she still can, securing her portion of the cash before everything possibly explodes out.
But right now, people are speculating and saying that allegedly, Steve Harvey allowed Sean Combs to date Lori Harvey, his stepdaughter, in order for freak-off footages not to be released.
It's just baby oil, all right? Praise the Lord, baby oil. Don't ever not include baby oil in your love life. You are missing one of the great inventions. Baby oil ain't really for babies.
But here's where things become considerably murkier. There are lots of conspiracy rumors going around that this entire divorce could be nothing more than a deliberate maneuver. Think about it. What if Marjorie and Steve had been plotting this for months, knowing that Diddy's arrest was inevitable? By filing for divorce now, they might be seeking to separate their assets from whatever legal difficulties are coming Steve's way. In other words, this might all be an elaborate plot to keep their money secure from the prying hands of the authorities. And let's not forget that Marjorie isn't exactly a stranger to controversy. People who've been paying attention to her background know that she's had some dubious ties previously. Her prior two husbands were both engaged in significant criminal businesses, which makes it hard to think that she's simply an innocent victim here. If anything, Marjorie understands how to manage delicate circumstances like these, and some would claim she's been preparing for a moment like this her entire life.
Been so many stories that have been made up about me. I've heard I've dated a father and son before.
Not true?
Absolutely not true.
Diddy and Lori Harvey, they're heating things up in Italy. Notice her arm is on the back of his chair.
But let's not go too far ahead. At the core of all this turmoil is a relationship that once appeared like the quintessential Hollywood love tale. Steve and Marjorie Harvey had been married for almost a decade, and from the outside looking in, it appeared like they had it all. Celebrity, riches, and a blended family that Steve continually bragged about on his programs. Marjorie was at his side throughout some of his biggest moments, and together, they appeared like an invincible power couple. So what went wrong? Was it Diddy's incarceration that acted as the last nail in the coffin for their marriage, or had things been falling long before that? If you delve a bit further, there are indicators that the fissures in their relationship have been appearing for a while. Steve's been clearly anxious in recent months, and there have been whispers of conflict between him and Marjorie about their money. Some believe that Steve has been putting himself into his job more than ever, which is frequently a clear indicator that something's going wrong at home.
Cheated on his wife with a man that would have sold. I ain't getting no fuck about no fake. Tell us the real. You supposed to be Tasha K. You supposed to have all the wine. And the wine and the wine. Tell him he's a f***ing bitch.
So
I'm gonna need to smoke. I gotta take my meds.
Yeah, hello, wait. I gotta ask you, Jag, real quick.
33% THC. That's my medicine.
We're gonna take a little break. Oh, but hello, wait, real quick. I have to ask because you mentioned sex workers.
Yeah.
And that word is getting thrown around a lot lately. And we see that 50 Cent is going at Diddy because his baby mother, I believe Daphne, is listed in a lawsuit as a sex worker for Diddy.
She a hooker, a Diddy bop.
Oh, man.
She was a Diddy bop first. He just didn't know that.
Oh. Dude.
Whatever the case may be, Marjorie filing for divorce on the same day Diddy was arrested is no coincidence. It's almost as if she saw what was coming and opted to jump ship before it was too late. And can you really blame her? With Diddy's reputation getting dragged through the dirt and Steve's name now possibly being tied to the same controversies, Marjorie is doing what anybody in her situation would do, protecting herself and her assets. But here's the kicker. Some people are alleging that Marjorie is not simply attempting to insulate herself from the controversy. She's been preparing this for years. In fact, there are reports that she's been seeking for an escape from her marriage with Steve for a time now, and Diddy's imprisonment merely provided her the ideal reason to finally make her move. Think about it. If Steve does wind up being related to Diddy's demise, Marjorie may wash her hands of the entire affair and say she had no role in it. And if Steve gets to escape uninjured, well, she's still going away with a huge portion of his income. So, is Marjorie a victim in all of this, or is she playing the long game? It's impossible to tell for sure, but one thing's clear, she's not hanging around to find out. Filing for divorce on the day of Diddy's arrest was a bold move, and it's got people talking. And with reports of Steve's participation with Diddy's dark side continuing to emerge, this divorce is just going to get uglier. Now, let's speak about the speculations swirling around about why Steve could be related to all this. Some individuals are suggesting that Steve attended a lot of Diddy's iconic parties over the years, and those parties weren't just your ordinary celebrity get-togethers. There are rumors about what went on behind closed doors, and although Steve has always kept a squeaky clean public image, there are murmurs that he wasn't exactly an innocent spectator.
This the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game. This the money game. But we in the money game.
People say that money changes people. It really doesn't. You know what I learned about money?
Money don't change people. Money allows you to be more of who you really are.
Imagine the headlines if it comes out that Steve was engaged in some of the illicit acts currently being connected to Diddy. It would be a complete 180 from the image he spent decades constructing. Steve's entire career is predicated on being a family-friendly man who dispenses love advice and delivers jokes about daily life. If it emerges out he was part of Diddy's inner circle, it would demolish the public's opinion of him in an instant. But here's where things get tricky. Steve has been in the profession for a long time, and he understands how to play the game. If he did have any participation in Diddy's world, he's certainly been doing all he can to keep it under wraps. Yet, as Diddy's legal difficulties build up, there's a potential that more and more individuals may start talking. And once that occurs, Steve's carefully manufactured image could well come crumbling down.
Steve had a dinner date with Bill Cosby and his wife. So everybody chilling, sitting down in the living room, chilling, Bill doing his thing.
The timing of all of this couldn't be worse for Steve. He's still a prominent player in the entertainment industry, with various TV series and commercial interests that depend on his clean-cut reputation. If these allegations prove out to be true, it might be the end of his career as we know it. And that's without even taking into consideration the financial impact he may endure if Marjorie's divorce goes through and she walks away with a significant piece of his assets. As for Marjorie, she's no stranger to controversy, and she understands how to navigate the muddy seas of Hollywood. If she's actually attempting to remove herself from Steve before the entire depth of his link to Diddy is known, it's a sensible decision. After all, she's got her own image to preserve, and the last thing she needs is to be pulled down by Steve's impending demise. But here's the thing, Marjorie may not be as innocent as she looks. People are already beginning to doubt her motivations, particularly given her prior affiliations. It's no secret that Marjorie was formerly connected with some less than reputable characters before she married Steve, and some are arguing that this divorce is simply another deliberate move in a long series of strategic choices.
Who was you smelling like, Steve, when you came in after Mary left? Because you was at Bill and homegirl house. So she said you had a little old about yourself like all on.
This brings us to the broader question. Is Marjorie truly the victim here, or is she playing a game of her own? Maybe Diddy's incarceration was all the motivation she needed to finally make her move and ensure her financial future. Maybe she's been planning this all along, and now that Steve's name is getting brought into the issue, she's jumping ship while she still can. A lot of people have been eager to point out that she's not exactly a stranger to shady activities. In truth, Marjorie Harvey's background is filled with links to some fairly problematic persons. It seems like wherever you turn, there's another tale that depicts her in a lot more complicated light than the picture-perfect socialite we've seen by Steve's side for the previous decade. Let's take a brief journey down memory lane. Marjorie wasn't always enjoying the opulent life we see her flaunting now on Instagram, jet-setting to exotic locales and rubbing shoulders with celebrities. Long before she became Mrs. Steve Harvey, Marjorie was involved to some major issues. She was formerly married to two separate men who were deeply engaged in less than legal activities, and their links have thrown a lengthy shadow over her image ever since.
Please, stop ignoring the red flags in your relationship and thinking you can change a man. But what would you say? What's been the key to our success?
The fact that you respect me and I respect you.
But here's where things become really fascinating. Marjorie didn't seem to have a problem with Lori's connection to Diddy, despite the obvious controversy surrounding the age difference and the awkward family dynamics. In fact, some stories indicate that Marjorie even encouraged the romance. Now, let that sink in for a minute. Marjorie Harvey, the woman who's now trying to distance herself from the fallout of Diddy's arrest, was seemingly fine with her daughter dating the very man at the center of the storm. It begs the question, just how much did Marjorie know about Diddy's lifestyle, and was she turning a blind eye to the warning signs? It's easy to hurl fingers at Steve Harvey and speculate about his role in Diddy's crazy parties, but Marjorie's prior mistakes don't exactly show her in the greatest light either. If she was happy with Lori being associated with Diddy, does it suggest she knew what type of things were going on behind closed doors? And if she knew, why didn't she step in to protect her daughter from what's now being exposed as a really dangerous situation?
We should care, guys, because this isn't just gossip. It's a warning about who gets protected in Hollywood and who gets thrown to the wolves. Lori's out here living her life now, but the internet is not going to forget. And Diddy, you already know, his legacy has completely crumbled at this point. And I just think that's just one piece of the puzzle. But I think the bigger question surrounding this, more so than Diddy, is Steve Harvey. With him having the book that he did and him giving advice to women for years, it being turned into movies, him being propped up as this savior of single women and how they should date and how they've done everything wrong, and he's going to be the one to direct and steer them. All in the midst of this, allowing his stepdaughter to date this man. And you may be asking, well, where is Lori's real father? We don't know. If you look up who her father is, nobody knows. But it has been, I'm not going to say confirmed, but I'm going to say, look it up for yourself. The information that's out there, the interviews given by Big Meech. Big Meech, who is a known drug kingpin who was in prison for many years. I think he's out now, who had a relationship with Lori's mother, Marjorie. And he said that is his daughter. Okay. And this is what has been out for a while now. This is what people speculate. But for some reason, it's really weird that Marjorie Harvey and Lori Harvey won't confirm who her real father is. They've just co-opted Steve as her stepfather, and even though he has his own biological kids, they've just co-opted that as that's her only father figure.
Some people are beginning to question whether Marjorie's abrupt decision to file for divorce is less about distancing herself from Steve's impending controversy and more about safeguarding her own image. After all, if further facts about Diddy's parties come to light, and it turns out that Marjorie knew what was going on all along, her reputation might take a significant harm. Filing for divorce now might be a method for her to get ahead of the narrative and make it look like she's breaking connections with Steve because of his participation, while in fact, she could have been just as close to the scenario as he was. Let's also not forget about the financial repercussions. Marjorie has had a life of luxury since marrying Steve, and with the allegations of Diddy's arrest and the potential ramifications for those close to him, it's plausible that she's attempting to preserve her assets before things become much worse. By filing for divorce, Marjorie might be positioning herself to walk away with a major piece of Steve's riches, all while keeping her hands clean from any legal difficulties could come their way. But at the end of the day, we can't deny the reality that Steve Harvey isn't the only one who could have some explaining to do. The fact that Marjorie has a history of connecting herself with prominent men who wind up in trouble raises a lot of warning lights. Is she truly only attempting to protect herself? Or is there something more to her sudden wish to break connections with Steve? And speaking of Diddy, let's take a closer look at what's happening with him right now. His arrest has sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry, and the charges against him are nothing short of explosive. With everything from criminal operations to more personal scandals being brought to light, it looks like Diddy's whole empire is falling before our eyes. But what's next for him? What type of penalties is he facing, and how may this influence the individuals who have been affiliated with him for so long? Experts are chiming in, and the conclusion isn't looking good for Diddy. Some legal experts feel the evidence against him is overwhelming, and with the FBI engaged, it's only a matter of time before other individuals start coming forward with their own tales. As additional victims and witnesses are examined, the breadth of Diddy's legal issues might widen, and we could see even more high-profile names brought into the mix. And let's not forget about the possible conditions Diddy may be facing if he's convicted. With accusations as severe as the ones he's faced with, Diddy may be looking at a lengthy term behind bars. For someone who spent decades enjoying a life of luxury, the realities of jail might be a brutal wake-up call. Girl, you better be sorry about this. Cause someone explain me why the streets are screaming that Marjorie Harvey is set to expose Diddy for allegedly victimizing Lori. We've always felt that Diddy and Lori's relationship was strange, to say the least. But with what Marjorie is currently stating, it appears like things were worse than we realized. See, we've previously known that Diddy did not exactly treat women correctly, especially Kim Porter, who he always referred to as the love of his life. But things became even worse during the trial because we heard some something that's more horrific than anything we could have ever imagined. And while we're trying to make sense of it, it appears that Marjorie is now saying that Lori is one of the many women Diddy wounded. So, what exactly did Diddy do to Lori to have Marjorie this scared out? And did Steve Harvey really put pressure on Lori to date Diddy? Let's break this down. It's been 7 years since Lori dated Diddy, and I'm not going to lie. It's still as startling as it was the first time we found out. Lori was just 22 at the time, and Diddy was approaching 50. That's a large age disparity, about 30 years, and people clearly noticed. But the more you think about it, the more weird it becomes. By the time Lori was born, Diddy was already a mature man with a 5-year-old kid. So, when Lori and Diddy began dating, she was really younger than his kid Justin. Child, you just had to be there. It was a heated mess. And just when you think it couldn't be any crazier, there's more. Turns out Diddy had known Lori for years before they ever got acquainted. He and Steve Harvey walked in similar circles. Not extremely close, but obviously acquainted. So, Diddy has been around Lori since she was a teenager, maybe even younger. That's what made the entire affair seem extra odd.
2019, and the internet is losing its mind. Diddy, who was then 49, and Lori Harvey, a fresh-faced 22-year-old, are spotted everywhere together. Italy, New York Soho, Malibu dinners, you name it. They're there together. Paparazzi catch them strolling like a couple, and the blogs, well, they go wild. A 27-year age gap? That alone raises eyebrows. But then reports drop that they're rocking matching outfits. Matching outfits, people. Like, who does that unless they're trying to scream, "We're together"? But here's the kicker. Steve Harvey, Lori's stepdad, is chilling with them in Italy while this is all going on. Why is Steve, Diddy's buddy since 2005, cool with his stepdaughter cozying up to a man twice her age? Something is not adding up, and the internet smelled it a mile away.
Diddy and Lori Harvey, they're heating things up in Italy. Notice her arm is on the back of his chair.
One thing about Lori Harvey is that her dating life is always gonna make headlines, cause that girl knows how to pick and choose her men. She has been in a lot of high-profile relationships, and as a result of that, there have been a lot of weird rumors about her. And she's the type of person who usually doesn't address rumors online, so there are some wild, unchecked rumors about her that are still spreading. Lori's very long list of exes includes soccer player Memphis Depay, rapper Future, Michael B. Jordan, Trey Songz, Diddy's son Justin Combs, and then Diddy himself. All of her relationships have been pretty public, but her rumored relationship with Diddy raised a lot of eyebrows because she had dated his son only a year before. She and Diddy were slammed for being disgraceful. Lori was labeled an HOE, and it was just a mess.
Was Lori Harvey passed around? Guys, fast forward to 2025, and the rumors have gotten nasty. They've been nasty for a while. But people are posting all types of claims, with some saying that Lori Harvey was passed around in Hollywood, while others whispered that she was sold to Diddy. Yes, you heard that right, sold. These are unverified, but the fact that people are even saying this shows how shady this whole thing looks. And then there's the Justin Combs angle. Rumors swirled back in 2018 that Lori was dating Diddy's son, Justin Combs, because their families were so tight. Diddy and Steve go way back, guys. So this is not a stretch, right? Like, I don't think it is. But Lori then shut it down in 2023 in an E! News interview saying, "I've heard I dated a father and son before." Absolutely not true. Okay, Lori. But then why do these rumors keep sticking? Why all the pictures and you very, very snuggled up to Diddy wearing matching outfits? To me, this is screaming a cover-up.
She wasn't some stranger he met as an adult. She was someone he'd known when she was still a youngster, almost like family. So, when he subsequently resumed dating her as a mature lady, it made many people uncomfortable. And if that wasn't enough, here's where it gets even uglier. Lori began meeting Diddy only a few months after his ex, Kim Porter, died away. And this wasn't some remote link. Lori and Kim were really fairly close. She paid her respects on Instagram saying, "Having a hard time processing this one. You are such a gorgeous person inside and out. I'm so pleased I told you how much I loved and missed you the last time I saw you. Your vibe was certainly something extraordinary, an angel on earth and now in heaven. R.I.P. Mama Kim." But then, only a few months later, she began dating Kim's ex, Diddy. That sure got everyone talking. It simply didn't sit right. Some individuals began questioning whether Lori was truly like Diddy at all, or if there was something more going on behind the scenes. And honestly, it just became more embarrassing. Not long after she and Diddy went public, folks saw that Lori had discreetly erased her homage to Kim. But you know how the internet works. Once it's out there, it's out there. It made it appear like she was attempting to erase the connection she had with Kim, like she was distancing herself now that she was with Diddy. Now, we all believed that Steve and Marjorie were going to step in and put a stop to the BS, but the reverse occurred. In fact, it appeared like they encouraged the relationship since they went on a vacation with Diddy and Lori, and it looked comfortable. However, they split up not long after that trip, and we were all glad since, as I said, it was odd. But now, the rumors are alleging that Marjorie was behind the separation because she pushed Lori to abandon Diddy. Word on the street is that she observed personally how Diddy handled her sweet baby daughter, and she was not having it. Allegedly, Diddy abused Lori exactly as severely as he did his past lovers. See, the connection began not long after Cassie had managed to leave Diddy, and Diddy was seeking for a new victim. So, I suppose it was a good thing after all that Marjorie and Steve went off on their trip. To put into context how strange it is that Marjorie was frightened out by the horrible things Diddy did to Lori, I suppose I need to remind y'all that Marjorie used to be all into that life. I mean, homegirl used to be married to not one, but 2 dealers, yet she escaped unhurt. Marjorie's first spouse was a guy called Jim Townsend, and he wasn't just any small-time hustler. He was deep in the business, peddling heavy things like nose candy. We're talking substantial weight, not something you casually remark over breakfast. He and Marjorie had 1 kid together, and she was really pregnant with their second when everything came falling down. In 1992, Jim was nabbed by the FBI while attempting to transport 40 kilograms, roughly 88 pounds, of nose candy. At the time, both the FBI and DEA had their sights on Marjorie too. They didn't accept her narrative that she had no idea what Jim was up to. In fact, many felt she was more involved than she let on, even when very pregnant. But Jim resolved to bear the heat and defend her. Word on the street is that he struck a deal to keep her out of it, and as a consequence, he ended up being sentenced to life in jail. Marjorie was undoubtedly thankful to Jim, for a time at least. That devotion lasted approximately 5 years, and then she filed for divorce while he was still in a way. It didn't take her long to move on either. Her next boyfriend, Darnell Woods, was purportedly Jim's cousin. But the real kicker, Darnell was also a traitor. So after evading charges the first time around, Marjorie plunged straight back into another relationship with someone in the same murky game. It had folks genuinely doubting her motives. And honestly, it appeared like she was pursuing the lifestyle more than anything else. Of course, history repeated itself. Darnell finally got caught, too. And just like previously, the FBI and DEA began sniffing about Marjorie again. And honestly, can you blame them? If someone's previously been linked to one kingpin and then goes and marries another one, people are going to raise their eyes. But Marjorie worked her charm, played it smart, and somehow managed to walk away without a single charge. Again. Honestly, Marjorie doesn't get nearly enough credit for her skills. Like, let's be real. It's insane that she managed to evade significant legal problems not once, but twice, all while being related to 2 big drug traffickers. That's some next-level strategy. And then after all that, she ends up marrying a rich comedian who had been in love with her for about 2 decades. That's not chance. That's calculated. And she didn't stop there. She had him officially adopt all 3 of her kids and give them his last name, entirely eliminating any public link to their original dads and the criminal record that came with them. That action wasn't just about love, it was sensible. She renamed her entire family and walked into a new life with a clean slate. Whether you respect it or side-eye it, you've got to realize Marjorie knows how to play the game. Like I stated, Marjorie was about that existence. So if she was appalled by how Diddy handled Lori, as the streets are reporting, y'all know it had to be something real awful. But that's not all, because there are some strange allegations about how Diddy reportedly got Lori pregnant and then forced her to get rid of it. This isn't the first time he's been accused of doing anything like this, and certainly, it's not unexpected that Marjorie wanted her kid out of that scenario. Anywho, I want to hear how you guys feel about this, so add your ideas in the comments, then check out this following video.